back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. Not basketball anymore. That's right. You heard it right. Not basketball anymore. That's what the NBA stands for. Not basketball anymore. Oh boy. So let's try to make some sense of this whole thing. And it's hard to make sense of the NBA anymore. It's just not logical, man. It's just so many things going on. It hasn't happened in one day or 1 year or 1 decade. I mean, this thing is a mess. And if it's this bad now, what the hell is going to happen in 230 or in 3 years? It's this bad right now. And I just don't know, folks. This is a sports league on the verge of having MLB ratings. Right. It's on the verge of being in a class with MLB. Wow. Who would have ever thought, right? Who would have ever thought? And a sub told me yesterday, he said it's hard for him to watch a game because of the play-by-play guys and the color analysts. And he said nobody's been saying nothing about that. And he's right to a degree about these play-by-play and color analyst guys. But a few people have said something about it. Me, Angry Old Hoop Fan, Sports and Fitness Brands, he said something about it too. Raw for TV. A lot of guys, even Scab Attack. So there is guys who've been saying something about these so-called analysts and play-by-play guys. They're disgusting. And to think some of these guys, they played in the league. And this is the stuff that they got to lie about and say and tell half-truths about is disgusting. It's just, when you start lying, that's bad. And I was talking about, watching the NFL, and these guys just, I don't know, it's a whole different play-by-play color analyst. They just call the game. They don't lie and slurp, and it's just a whole different thing, man. Football makes you want to watch the game. If the team is good. Sometimes you don't want, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes you don't want to watch these teams that suck. Sometimes you say, why the hell are you getting paid millions of dollars and you can't even do your job? I don't think you should be making tens of millions of dollars and the team can't even be 500 at least, right? Why should you get paid tens of millions of dollars or millions of dollars if the team isn't even 500? I'm not gonna lie, that's a failure. So we won't get too deep into that. I mean, who really is running the NBA? Nobody really knows. This commissioner, Adam Silver, he's not running the NBA. The things he says makes zero sense at all. He doesn't rule with an iron fist. He's real girly to me. He doesn't. He really doesn't act like a man. He doesn't sound like a man. He doesn't act like a man. He doesn't make manly decisions. Nothing like that. I don't know who is really running this league. It's definitely not that commissioner. And a lot of things need to be said about these owners, right? These owners vote this commissioner. Well, they vote a commissioner in. And they vote to have this. They vote to have a commissioner continue, his reign in the league. And that's what they did recently. Gave this guy, it was crazy. Well, a 5-10 year contract. It was like, what the hell is going on? So something needs to be said about these owners, because they have to be held responsible for what's going on. How are they giving these players record-breaking contracts in a league that nobody's watching? I always feel like nobody's watching me. Nobody's watching this league, according to the viewership. And you still had the players chasing the fans away, doing stupid stuff, flipping off the fans, fighting with the fans, getting the fans ejected, throwing chairs, hit a fan or something. Like Anthony Edwards do that. He threw a chair because he got mad and it hit a fan. Now, I'm not going to say, 90s players were innocent of everything, but They didn't chase the fan base away. So we're still trying to find out how these, because I haven't heard any YouTube guy or the YouTube channel. I hear him talk about the NBA's in danger. Nobody's watching this crap, blah, blah, blah. Well, if nobody's watching it, how are they making this money? How are they making record-breaking contracts? How is a player who isn't top 10 got the biggest contract in NBA history? How does that make any sense? How does that make any sense? And I think some people will try to slide something in there and call it an excuse, right? And what they'll try to do is they'll try to say, well, they make all this money on revenue and they're still selling out these games, and I guess. But if nobody's watching it, how are these networks bidding so much on this league? How are they making any money if nobody's watching it? I don't understand. Nobody's watching it on TNT. Maybe sometimes, no, do they play on TBS? I don't think so. Maybe if it's a playoff game or something like that. ESPN, ABC, they can't even afford to pay good analysts or good workers anymore at ESPN. They fired everybody. They fired all the good people. They can't afford to pay them. But yeah, the NFL can afford, the NBA can afford, or ESPN can afford to pay the NBA all this money, and nobody's watching ESPN. I'm still trying to figure that out, man. And all these guys, instead of living it up, to all the NBA players that be living it up, instead of living it up, what do? They have to have podcasts. Now, I've questioned a lot of stuff. Like, how are these players retiring after making $100 million, $200 million, $300 million in a career, and now they have to keep working? They have to put on makeup and go to work. They have to now have podcasts. When I say put on makeup, they have to be analysts, and they got to go coach and all this stuff, right? They can't sit down and retire. Trust me, I don't know about them. Have fun. But if I made $100 million, $200 million, $300 million over my career, you couldn't get me up for nothing. And I'm not talking about, I made that money playing in the league for 5 years. No! You played 10 years, 12 years, whatever. You've been running up and down the damn courts that you was in high school, maybe AAU, whatever like that. There is no reason for me to retire and make that kind of money and get up and have to work again. No. I don't want to hear no excuses. So how the hell are these guys still needing money today? And these guys get paid more than anybody in the 2020s. More than any NBA player has in the past. And yet they still need a podcast during the season? Well, huh? What, huh? Scooby-Dooby-Doo. They still need a podcast. So you think these guys are doing this just for the health? No, folks. They're doing this to make money. They're not working on their game. They're not in a weight room trying to figure out, how can I not get hurt? Or if I get hurt because I was in the weight room, well, we're not talking about LeBron James, workout or nothing like that. That's head scratching on how he's still running the court for 22 seasons straight after all those regular season games, the playoff games, the finals games, the FIBA games, the Olympic games. We're just talking about really just getting in the weight room and getting a little cut on your arm and some muscle tone something these guys don't have in this era. So we're just talking about, that kind of getting in shape. So even if you do get hurt, you can play through pain, or you're less likely to get hurt because you're strong. Something like that, man. So that ain't what these guys want to do. They want a podcast. To me, that was real disgusting what JJ Redick did and LeBron did, the whole podcast. Not because they podcasted, because they got up there and lied. And this is the new thing is, ask Gilbert Arenas, who almost has 1 million subs off of lying and telling half-truths, right? Because if he's not lying and he's telling the truth, it's not going to work out for him, because that ain't what this world is about anymore. It's about lies. It's only about, poking the bear, controversy, all this stuff. And if you tell the truth, it's ugly. Nobody wants to hear it. It don't make you feel good. If you lie, it's beautiful. It feels good, and everybody wants to hear it. I don't know. I don't know who's running this NBA, but it's weird to me, man. We we can talk about so many different things, man. Them changing the rules, and they got 3 tournaments in one season: the in-season tournament, the play-in tournament, and of course the playoff tournament. I mean, where are we at? You got a league who has a 3-time MVP and about to be a 4-time MVP. What, 4 times in 5 years? And this guy is not the face of the league? It's weird. It's weird. But the face of the league, since at least the 2010s, has been a loser, a super team builder, a 4-6 meltdown artist, choke artist. Can't shoot the mid-range, can't shoot the 3, can't give you no paint work, can't shoot free throws. A poor rebounder for 6'9", 250. I mean, this has been your face of the league. Chases the fans away. I mean, what? This is the face of the league. And we talked about this the other day, that I don't remember at no time in any sports a villain being the face of a sports league, right? A villain that they have tried to make into I don't know what you want to call it. A good guy? A hero? No, folks, once he went to Miami, he put the villain label on his shoulders by taunting the league and taking the power out of the East and trying to take the power out of the damn NBA, basically, because he didn't want to compete. As he said in that interview in 2009, going to Miami gave him his best chance to win, playing with Wade and Bosh. What does that mean? Your best chance to win? No, he said my best chance to win championships. So essentially what he told you was he can't win without super teams. This would give him his best, I don't know if he said opportunity or chance, one of them. Playing with Wade and Bosh, give him his best chance to win championships. We can do a whole video on that. His best chance or opportunity, which one he said, playing with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh will give him his best chance to win championships. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, folks. So he basically said, taking the power out of the East, or the competition out of the East, and you can say out of the NBA, is the only way this guy had a chance to win championships. Ouch. Wow. That is crazy. So he wasn't good enough to win championships without a super team. That's what this guy is saying. In that weak East that he was in, that the Boston Celtics only won one championship, only won one conference title in like 6 years together. That gave him his best chance to win championships. That's crazy. And if you think that's crazy, what about when he did it the second time? When he went back to Cleveland, he didn't say that, but that's basically, I mean, his actions is basically what he's saying again. Going back to Cleveland and building another super team gave him his best chance to win championships. He couldn't win championships without a super team. And they made this guy the face of the NBA, a villain. A guy who couldn't win championships doing it right. Like Michael Jordan. And the fact that he got guys that in his own era who won championships doing it right, it's crazy. So what does that make Giannis and Joker and, Steph Curry did it without a super team twice? I'm not going to hold you guys too long on this. I just heard something, when Shaq clapped back the other day, said everybody shooting all these threes, everybody, doing the same thing, blah, blah, blah. And Shaq said this about today's NBA. What's wrong with it? Why the ratings are so low? And the commissioner really clapped back at this guy and said something about, yeah, I understand what you're saying, Shaq, and all this stuff. But he said something to like, when you were playing, all you did was dunk, and everybody was complaining about that. I'm like, what? It's crazy what this commissioner be saying, man. When Shaq was playing, people wanted to see Shaq dunk. People loved it, and they was watching. Shaq attack. And that's what centers did, was dunk, especially when they was under the basket. Furthermore, the game was better. Everybody was doing something different. Everybody was sitting at the three-point line. People were playing defense. I don't know at what point he was saying this about Shaq. What is he talking about? I know he can't be talking about the 90s. I'm talking about the early 2000s. And that ain't all Shaq did was dunk. Shaq had all kind of moves, if you go back and watch. What's this guy talking about? So I'm going to get off this thing. The NBA, I don't know, man. It really lost a lot when Tracy McGrady got hurt. He didn't really live up to expectations. Grant Hill got hurt. Allen Iverson, he great player, man. I don't think he lived up to expectations. I don't know, man. This guy, yes, he ushered in this so-called, I say gangster rap culture, because hip-hop culture was in the NBA for a long time. Now, did they dress that way? Not really, but the hip-hop culture, Shaq was making rap albums in the damn 90s. Michael Jordan was wearing gold chains in the All-Star game. And so hip-hop culture was, it was in the NBA, man. They used to have hip-hop artists performing at the All-Star game. The cornrows and big pants, that's gangster rap, man. He brought gangster rap in there. Players being lazy, players not going to practice. That's not the mentality that these prior players had. You got to remember, they really didn't grow up in the hip-hop generation. When we talk about the Michael Jordan era and back, they grew up on like R&B music, soul music, blues music, jazz music, stuff like that. They didn't grow up on rap music. Rap music really didn't come until maybe, most of them was going into college, and maybe the NBA, as far as hip-hop music. So they didn't grow up on that when they were in elementary, middle school, high school, and some of them not even college. So they had a totally different mentality of hard work and stuff like that. They don't have the I don't give a F mentality and stuff like that. These guys are more articulate, and I'm not trying to bang on gangster rap, but it is what it is. And that's the thing that AI, the mentality that he brought into the NBA. And a lot of people are proud of that, right? AI changed the game. AI brought in hip-hop culture. No, he didn't. He brought in gangster rap culture. There's a whole difference. Hip-hop culture was Heavy D, Salt and Pepper, Biz Markie, Run DMC, LL Cool J, Big Daddy Kane. These people back in the 80s or the early 80s and stuff. People who didn't need to cuss to make rap music, to make hip-hop a culture. They didn't need to say the N-word. They didn't need to diss women or degrade women. They didn't need to degrade and threaten to kill other people in order to make a song. That was hip-hop. Gangster rap that AI brought into the into the NBA is the total opposite. You think black men were going to prison in those record numbers over hip-hop music back in the day? No. But when gangster rap came on the scene, black males were going to prison in record numbers. Selling drugs in record numbers. Killing each other in record numbers. So yeah, Vince Carter, to me, he was a big disappointment. Big deal, he can dunk. He doesn't have no great, memorable, all-time playoff moments. He might have one or two, but, he didn't put up all these 50 and 40-point games. He's not a top 75 player. He's not really clutch. Yes, he's a Hall of Fame player, but you let LeBron James come in and run the league in those 2000s and be the face of the league. That kind of hurts right there. And then you have, you could make some excuses for Tracy McGrady because he was always hurt, but this guy was a choke artist too. So, I don't know. I just don't know, man. The NBA is basically over, so they're gonna have to find out how bad this thing is gonna get because now they got MLB ratings, and nobody's watching this crap. And the commissioner don't want to seem to make it better. He wants to make excuses, like I said. I don't know, bro. It's not watchable. This product is not watchable. So you guys tell me what you think, man. Just how they can fix it. I just don't know how you can fix it, man. Men are not men anymore. Michael Jordan seen this when he was an owner, and when he wanted to come back and play, it wasn't for rings. This guy wanted to come back and play because he wanted to prove to his team they're effing lazy. And that he could even make the playoffs at 40 years old. He could make that team make the playoffs. And he almost did it if it weren't for injuries. But I don't know, guys. They better come up with something in the next year or two, or it's going to be over, man. Nobody wants to watch this stuff. They travel and they carry. We talked about this. This is embarrassing. You got guys making tens of millions of dollars a year and they're dribbling the ball all game, shoulder high, putting their palm under the ball all game while they dribble, and nothing is called. This is basic stuff, drills you learn as a little kid. So basically, they know they're doing this stuff, but they know they're making a mockery out of the game. So again, I don't believe these guys are making this kind of money. I just don't. I think they're saying this to charge the fans all this money and stuff like that. And let me say this. If they are making this kind of money, I don't blame the fans for walking away because it's a disgrace how they're making this kind of money. Nobody's watching it. They're not upholding the standard of past years. They're not playing positional basketball. They only have one skill. They're always hurt. They don't show up to work. The refs aren't calling travel and carry. They don't know how to dribble the damn ball. All this stuff. So if they're making all this money, that's bad. And also too, we talked about this too the other day that a lot of it had to do with dissing past players, and it started basically in 2018 with Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp, and these type of guys. When LeBron lost his what was it? He lost his six finals blowouts, but not even a game 7. He lost his 6 finals, and then Nick Wright and people of his ilk went on to start dissing past players, right? In the 2020s, it really filled up, right? And this really hurt the NBA. So tell me what you think, man.